to start by just having us tell you who you are and what you're about?
That's a tough question. Yeah, so my name is Dina Kaplan. I'm one of the founders of Blip.tv and the COO. So we basically have created a video blogging site. It's for people that are, in essence, creating TV shows for the internet. And that's everything from politics to a reality show about your life to scripted sitcoms and dramas. But we're proud, connected to what you guys are doing, we're definitely proud to host the weekly video blog that Tom Vilsack is doing, just about life on the campaign trail. And we have a video blog from a guy named Brian Conley, who set up a bunch of stringers in Iraq and calls his show Alive in Baghdad. And he's literally covering the war in Iraq in a way that you would never see on the networks. So those are two things that are kind of relevant to what you guys believe in terms of kind of creative and new ways to tell stories with the media that's very personal and authentic.
I want to talk with you a lot more about Blip TV, but before we get to that, I want to ask, if it's okay with you, I want to ask you a question about gender.
Gender. I'm actually on the board of the Women's Media Center, so I guess that's a
great.
fair question.
Because the reason I want to ask about it is, you know, we've been pulling people in over the last couple of days. We've basically had, you know, wranglers and folks pulling people in here for us to interview. And, you know, other than Helen Thomas, you're really like, you're the third woman we've had in here all weekend.
It's funny because I don't think about it that much, but I guess I should. I go and I speak at a lot of tech conferences. And you do notice, especially when there are events at night, that the male-female ratio is, I mean, it's not 10 to 1, sometimes it's 100 to 1, so.
Why is that?
I definitely think about this more in terms of the tech world than I do in terms of the media outside of my role in the Women's Media Center, but just because the tech world is more of my day-to-day life. I don't know why that is. It might be that men are more inclined towards being programmers, and internet companies are often founded by people with a really strong background and talent for programming. So maybe that has something to do with it. I have actually spoken with some people about this at business schools, like Harvard Business School, things like that. And I'm told that there is a strong spirit of entrepreneurship among women, but they're more often going to open a candle shop or a clothing shop or a shoe shop or a, you know, something that's more on the retail sector. So in terms of internet companies, I mean, it is amazing how few women there are who are at that C-level, whether it's CEO or COO or CFO in internet companies. And I don't honestly have the answer. With the media, it's actually been very interesting for me to hear what Gina Davis was talking about, and Jane Fonda, even though I do sit on that board with her. I feel like our expectations, I guess, are a little bit low, because I don't watch television and think, oh, there are no women. I don't think like that. But when I hear these speeches, then you do sit back and wonder and begin to analyze movies that you've seen or TV programs that you've seen. And they're right, there are more men than women on those programs.
So do you think that the convergence of digital technology with, say, video, great example being Blip.tv, has a unique sort of new opportunity to sort of break that kind of, you know, male-dominated bottleneck?
Huh, that's interesting. You know, there are jobs out there in television. There really are. And I'm not one of those people that goes around and complains about how sexism and homophobia and racism is just preventing anyone from achieving their dreams. I think that there's a world of opportunity out there, and to an incredible extent, your life is what you make of it. Having said that, the playing field is 100% open with video blogging. I mean, all you need is a camcorder or a cell phone that shoots video. And granted, camcorders are maybe $200, so maybe that's a bit of a barrier. But buying a cell phone that shoots video is not too tough. So then what do you need in addition to that? You need an internet connection and some form of computer. So for most people, for many people, that's pretty easy. I'd say that's about level between the opportunity for men and women. So then it's just up to the individual to take that opportunity and seize it. Having said that, there are definitely many more men who are video blogging than women. And yet you have some strong female stars. You have the woman from Tiki Bar TV, who's fantastic. You have Amanda Congdon, who's on Blip.tv, who's probably the most famous video blogger in the world. But It's funny, as I think back on our top shows, they are mostly hosted and run by men. That's true. That's just, there's no one to blame, I don't think. There, you can't say, oh, society is sexist. If you're a woman, start a video blog. It's as simple as that. Just do it.
Blip.tv was pretty prominently featured in the Bill Moyer's Net at Risk documentary.
It was?
Yeah.
Wow. Wait, tell me about it. I think I might have missed this.
Well, I've got a copy. I can maybe see if I can get you one. But anyways, they were talking with them specifically about the issue of net neutrality.
Yeah, we've been very active on that.
To your business model.
Yep.
I wonder if you can talk a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, the great thing about starting a company on the internet is that I've talked a lot about the level playing field. There really is one for internet companies. And the real estate that you might buy on a city block that would be a storefront versus being on the 3rd floor doesn't exist on the internet because your site is just there. And it's how well you're doing is a function of how great the service is and how great your marketing is, and it's really up to you. So net neutrality would change all of that and give a huge advantage to the companies that are able to manage the relationships of paying for that extra bandwidth in that faster lane. And
you mean removing it?
Yeah, removing it, apologies. So yeah, if you didn't have it, a company like ours probably wouldn't even exist. Because if the videos are not loading quickly enough on blip.tv, if they're loading 100 times faster on the Verizon video sharing site or whomever else's video sharing site that's able to pay that mammoth fee for the fast lane and just manage all the relationships with the vendors around the world, we'd never be able to compete. I mean, not even close.
So does the situation kind of force you to be, both entrepreneurs and activists, kind of as a sort of matter of necessity?
Well, I mean, we're definitely outspoken on this and we've been involved in the issue. But no, our first focus is on building up the business and on maintaining our great relationship with the show creators. So, I mean, I'd say probably 99.99999% of our focus is on blip.tv. And then if it comes up, like right now as I'm sitting here talking to you, sure, we're happy to say that we're on the right side of this issue.
Sometimes it seems like there's a lot, it can be difficult to separate the hype from the reality around new technological trends like blogs or video blogging. You talked a little bit about this already, but we're going to just come back to it. I mean, aside from, people sitting in their basement, hand farting the national anthem or, taking videos of their cats, like what do you see as the real sort of democratic and sort of meaningful sort of social opportunity of the kind of work that Blip.tv is making possible?
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually think the hype is even less than the reality. I think, and I don't say this lightly, I truly believe we are in the midst of a video revolution. And this is the ultimate example of the democratization of the media. What we're doing at Blip.tv is a direct end run around the networks. Take someone like Amanda Congdon. Amanda had always wanted to, be involved in entertainment. She wasn't, maybe exactly sure in what form that would take. But someone like her in the past would have to be kind of knocking on the doors of Warner Brothers Studios or of NBC or Bravo and, getting a character role on a pilot and hoping that that got picked up, and really would have to work within this system and have a bunch of people with the ability to greenlight a project or to not greenlight a project. And that would determine whether she would make it on air, so to speak. Now, instead, she can pick up a camcorder or a cell phone, but camcorders shoot a little bit better than cell phones right now, at least in the United States. And she can shoot a show and get it up on the internet. And if it's good, which her videos I think are amazing, she can be watched by literally millions upon millions of people all around the world. So with Amanda, we were able to bring in 2 sponsors for her video blog, Dove and Pal Talk, so that she's making actually a pretty significant amount of money doing it. And she's able to essentially create a TV show that can be viewed by millions and make money and not have a boss. And there's no one that can greenlight or not greenlight her project. It's all up to her. So, I mean, talk about the democratization of the media. The power is 100% in your hands. If you're someone that's always wanted your, not 15 minutes of fame, but your 15 minutes, say, a week of fame, or maybe 5 minutes a week of fame, then just go do it. There's nothing stopping you, and there's no excuse not to do it. So I think it's an incredible, incredible time for anyone that's ever wanted to be on air. There's nothing preventing you.
So Dove Charney?
Dove, which is part of the Unilever brand, like Dove soap. So
sorry.
Dove, no, that's all right. They're promoting this new product called Dove Cream Oil, and they were trying to, or they have been trying to get people to create an ad for Dove Cream Oil, and so they came in to sponsor Amanda's show, thinking that her audience would have a lot of content creators in it, and so it was a great brand match.
Can I jump in for a second? So we're at 10 minutes. I just want to warn you.
Okay.
You have to
You know what? I'm not going to make that flight anyway, so it's fine. Thank you. But thanks.
Could you re-ask the question about what losing net neutrality would mean, just so we can, because I think it was kind of broken up into points. The answer.
Okay. So what?
So
why is net neutrality important to your business?
Oh, do you want me to re-answer it?
Yeah, would you mind?
Why? Was there something wrong with the way that I answered it?
No, not at all.
Oh,
Can we just edit it, do you think, or?
yeah, probably.
Oh, I thought there wasn't a technical
No.
issue? Oh, okay.
Did I answer it incorrectly?
No, it's just because when you answered it, you said, what you meant was losing net neutrality, and you said net neutrality.
Oh, but I think he corrected me.
Yeah.
Well, you want me to re-answer it? Okay, I'll try to do that. All right, sorry. You can ask it.
Okay. Just give us the short form, and then we can just use it for editing purposes.
Sure.
So why is net neutrality important to Blip TV?
Net neutrality is essential to a site like Blip.tv because it lets us be on an equal playing field with any other site that's out there that's serving videos on the internet. What it's like is that everyone has kind of an equal storefront on the street, and anyone in the public can choose which service they want to use based on which is the best service. If you all of a sudden have a playing field that's completely unequal and the videos on Blip.tv are loading 100 times slower than they are on Verizon's new, for example, video site, no one's going to use our site. And yet for us as a startup that is nowhere near the size of a Verizon, for example, we're not going to be able to manage the relationships with 50 different vendors around the world that are all that we're having to deal with, the bandwidth issues and buying that fast lane track. Not having net neutrality could put a site like ours out of business.
Just to wrap up, web video is starting to get a ton of mainstream attention. In some ways, though, it seems like the really big shift is going to come when we're able to deliver video not only to people's computer screens, but make the transition into the living room, or the big, king, mommy, daddy screen.
No, that's right.
When do you think that's going to happen? What kind of impact is that going to have for you personally, and what kind of impact do you think that's going to have on our democracy in general?
Yeah, you're right. That is the huge turning point. We think that videos, in the end, are best watched sitting on your living room couch with the remote control in hand on your television. So we 100% agree with that. In fact, we were the first video sharing site to sign a deal with Akimbo, which is one of the VOD leaders, so that you could watch your top Blip shows right on your television set in your living room or in your bedroom. I think we're going to see it happen to a huge degree in 2007. I think in 2006, the early adopters kind of figured it out. We have people that have hacked into PlayStation 3s and gotten their videos from Blip that they like to work with their television sets, and other people that are just talented with the sort of wiring cable thing have been able to figure out how to plug their computer into their television set. So the early adopters have already begun doing this. Sony has a new box that's going to let you do this. The iTV is going to really help. I think TiVo's obviously making big inroads in terms of serving internet videos, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I was just at CES in Las Vegas this whole past week, and it seemed like every company I was meeting with wanted to find a way to serve internet videos onto your television set. So what does that mean? I mean, from our Amanda Congdon example, once most people are seeing her videos mostly on the television, I mean, she just has no need to get her video blog onto NBC. I mean, she's a little bit of an unusual example in that she's doing a video blog for ABC and she's working on a development deal with HBO. But take Brian Conley, who is covering the war in Iraq as part of Alive in Baghdad. Once he's able to go to Iraq, shoot this footage with a camcorder and get it up onto the internet and then have that appear on your television set, I mean, that's a huge threat to the CNNs and NBC and ABC Newses of the world. And it means even more so that these people that want to create shows on anything and everything, sitcoms, dramas, citizen journalism, reality shows, whatever it is, don't need the networks. They can have a sponsor be brought in by us at blip.tv. They can get everything onto the internet easily. We can get that onto the television set. And that is the true democratization of the media. And that is going to have a profound impact on the way we watch television, on the way talent is sort of cultivated in this country, and perhaps on the whole democracy.